If you're new to the wonderful craft of street photography or feeling tired of always shooting in the same city or area, it might be time to explore new locations, different countries, or even entirely new continents. In today's video, I want to share some tips and tricks that I've gathered over the past decade while traveling the world and following my passion, street photography. I've just arrived in a new country and this is the perfect opportunity to share my insights with you. Alright everyone, for those that don't know me, my name is Robin and I've been shooting street for over 10 years now. And I also love traveling the world, documenting the streets or the life on the streets through the lens of my camera. Right guys, I would say without further ado, let's get right into today's video. Alright, let's talk about point number one, and that is something you can do before you even go on a trip, and that is doing a little bit of research about the place you're going, because in some places it might not be legal to take photos of everything you see on the streets.
That often includes police, government buildings, or anything related to the military. Even though he didn't take a photo of a police officer, street photographer F.D. Walker was arrested in Morocco simply for taking photos of people in public, which local police claimed was illegal. However, it turned out they were mistaken and fortunately they released him after a brief interrogation.
Well, also it might be very useful to do a little bit of research about possible shooting locations. Yeah, you can obviously shoot in the very common spots where everybody is shooting if you go into like a big city, a major city, but maybe you go somewhere off the beaten path and find the little hidden gems.
Some of the best spots for street photography are the ones that seem totally random, easily overlooked in the hustle and noise of the city, but full of hidden stories if you take the time to notice.
Alright, it also helps if you do a little bit of research if in the location you're going to, at the time you're going, if there's any festivals or anything else going on, because that can make the whole experience, the whole shooting experience even better. I mean, I've had it in the past that I've showed up to a place and I had no idea, but suddenly there was some really cool event going on and I was right in the middle of it and I absolutely loved it and had some great time and got away with really good shots. So if you do a little bit research up front or you plan your trip accordingly, that can make the whole experience even better. Also, it might help if you do a little bit of research and to see what the weather will be like in the location you're going, because you don't want to show up somewhere in the rainy season, somewhere in Southeast Asia, and then, yeah, basically you're stuck in your hotel room because it's outside, it's pouring like crazy. So I think doing a little bit of that up front will help you not getting disappointed once you show up in that location. All right, the next point, and I think this one is crucial because that's a mistake I've done a few times in the past. Not anymore, because now I know, and that is picking the right location for your accommodation. If you have identified where you want to shoot, it makes sense to pick a location that is close by and not at the other side of the city where it might take 1 hour or 2 hours to even get there, because otherwise you will waste a lot of time and maybe one day you might not be motivated to go out because it already takes like 1 hour to get there. So do a little bit of research, identify where you want to shoot, and then pick your hotel or your accommodation accordingly. All right, next point, and that is dress accordingly to your location. I think that's very important because as a street photographer, one thing you want to avoid is standing out like a sore thumb, and because that will give you a lot of unwanted attention, and if you want to have candid shots, it's probably not a smart thing to do. So it's probably a good idea to dress more muted a little bit, maybe dark colors or no colors at all, just black and whatever, so or dark blue like I'm right now. I mean, there's some locations where people will still stare at you because people will see you, and because you're a foreigner, they will know right away that you're a foreigner, and maybe they see the camera so they know you're a photographer. But if you wear bright colors, they will see you from even further away, and that's definitely not what you want. All right, next point, also I think pretty crucial, that's gear minimalism. Don't do it like I did. Bring a big backpack full of gear, but I have an excuse because I need to film videos for YouTube, so I have to bring more stuff than I would usually do. If I would go on a trip just for myself, I would just bring one camera, one lens. In my case, it's like a Q3, and that's about it. So I would shoot everything with that one camera and maybe a spare battery, but that's all I need. And I think that also helps not to stand out too much, because if you have gear hanging around your neck, like 3 cameras, big lenses, people will look at you because you don't look a stupid tourist anymore. Now you look like a professional journalist, and then people will automatically look at you. Another thing I would advise you to do is engage with the local community. I remember when I started out with photography, back then there was no Instagram, or I don't know when it started, but I think it wasn't around. So back then there was Flickr. And I remember the first time I went to Korea, I joined this local Flickr group, and we had a meetup, and I think they have a meetup every weekend, and yeah, that was pretty cool. I met some cool people. Some are still friends with, even though it's like now 14, 15 years ago. Wow, crazy. And also they showed me some cool places I would have otherwise never seen, like this cool cannon behind me. All right, so engage with the local community. If you're maybe an introvert, or for some whatever reason you can't find a local community, in a lot of places you can also hire a local guy to show you around and show you some cool spots that you might otherwise never see.
You can also check social media for local photographers. Many are open to meeting up and showing you around.
Also, one major tip I can give you, and I think that is also very, very important, is to explore the neighborhoods by foot. And don't take taxis everywhere or take the subway everywhere. Just explore by foot, because you might stumble upon stuff you would otherwise never see. For instance, when I was in Egypt, I went to the pyramids, and I could have taken the bus, but I decided maybe it's not the best way to get there. Maybe I should just walk there, even though it was pretty far away, and I did. And on the way, I took a lot of cool shots. So that was my favorite day during that trip, even though in the end, I think I was just shy of a full marathon that day. That was absolutely crazy. All right, I had to come down here to the water because up there was so many people watching me filming myself, which is always a little bit strange. All right, the next point, and that is staying flexible. What I mean by that is, don't be too fixated about what to shoot during your trip, because you never know. You might come across something completely different, something you did not expect. And then, so stay open to new opportunities and try something else. Don't be, like I said, too fixated on one thing and one thing only, because I think this will broaden your horizon a little bit, and in the end you will come home with better images, that's for sure. All right guys, next point, and that goes hand in hand with what I just said, and that is being open to experiments. If you're usually shooting silhouettes or reflections only, maybe this time try something else. Try to be open, try new perspectives, try maybe a new focal length, whatever it is, because this will help you hopefully to get better images and also to grow as a photographer and to improve your journey in the long run as a street photographer. Another thing that is rather important, and I've learned it the hard way myself, is that don't overplan things. Because if you overplan your trip, you have so many things you want to do. In the end, this will stress you out too much and you will not be able to enjoy your trip. So don't overplan things, just be open to things just naturally to unfold. Alright, one thing that will help you to navigate the streets is using your phone to pre-visualize your walks. This can help you to guess distances and how much time you will need. And also, one thing that is people probably know, but most people don't use it, is on Google Maps you can see in specific places how busy they are when there's usually the most people around. And I think this is very useful if you want to shoot in very busy areas to see when it's really busy. If it's on a Sunday, it's not busy at all, maybe the location is closed and there's nobody around. So I think for that, Google Maps is your best friend to see where to shoot and what time to shoot. Alright, what also ties into this category is using public transport. Yes, I'm contradicting myself because I said just walk, but sometimes there's some distances you can't cover because it's just too far. So you have to use some sort of transport. You could use apps like Uber or a taxi or whatever, but I would advise you to use the public transportation, the subway or the bus, because on the bus or on the subway there's life happening right in front of you and you might be able to capture some cool scenes right there. I had situations before where I was on the bus and I wasn't expecting it and suddenly something happened just in front of me, and that was pretty cool. So that's another tip I would give you. So the next point on the list is regarding safety, not just your safety or physical safety, also safety of your files. I think if you go on a trip, it's very important that you think about backing up your files. I think the best case scenario would be to have a cloud-based backup. No matter what happens to your back, the data is always safe in the cloud.
This should be obvious, but trust me, there are photographers out there who have gone on a trip and come home with no images because they lost their memory card and had no backup. So bring an extra hard drive or SSD for that. And if you want to be as safe as possible, leave one copy in your hotel room and carry the other one with you.
Now, when it comes to your own safety, what I sometimes do is I will just ask photographers, local photographers, if there's any places I should avoid and I shouldn't go because it's maybe too sketchy. And also, most importantly, and that helped me over the last 10 plus years, I did this, is just listen to my own guts. If my gut is telling me, don't go there, maybe it's dangerous, I have a bad feeling about this place, then it's better to avoid it. Now, when it comes to safety, what also helps is walk around with confidence, because there's studies that show that people that look confident are less likely to get robbed, mugged, whatever. So just walk around looking confident and you'll find people will leave you alone. Oh, and in case they don't, a good pair of walking or running shoes might help you as well.
I made a video on how to stay safe while shooting street photography, packed with tips and tricks. So check it out if you haven't seen it yet or want to refresh your memory.
Alright guys, that's it for my tips for this video. If you have more tips, please share them with us in the comments below this videos. And if you want to know where I'm at right now, you would see that in the next video where I'm going out to shoot street photography here. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. If you do so, you know what to do. Smash the like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and we will see each other very soon in the next one. Until then, auf Wiedersehen.